Hello everyone, it is Jayden and welcome to The Alpha, the show where we talk about the hottest topics in pop culture and sports. If you enjoy this video, be sure to hit that like button on the video, and if you enjoy my commentary and myself truly as always, be sure to tap that subscribe button and to hit that notification bell to get notified when all my videos go live. I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya. It is something that I know all of you have been waiting for. It is my big draw for the show. I was very much scared about this, and when I tell you guys, I did not see this coming. There's no way I could have saw it. There's no way I very much foreseen it coming in any way, form, or fashion. I was shocked. I was at work at the time when I was seeing these numbers, and I just want to preface that this was detrimental. What happened to Fantastic Four at the box office was something I did not foresee. Because going into the second weekend, I discussed the first weekend numbers. It was pretty much on par, right, with what Superman was going to do and what Superman did in its first weekend. And I was sitting there saying, like, man, the way Marvel has dominated the international box office in comparison to Superman, well, I wouldn't say dominate, but the way that I did foresee and everybody pretty much would foresee it doing better internationally, and I was like, maybe it could leg out Superman. Boy, did that not seem to be the case. And let's just get to it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic Four craters, keyword craters, by 66% in its second weekend. Marvel's first family might not save the day after all. The Fantastic Four First Steps is quickly losing steam in its second weekend, signaling the comic book adventure isn't connecting at the box office beyond the film's core demographic of superhero fans. After a healthy $117.6 million debut, Fantastic Four suffered a hefty 66% drop in its sophomore outing with $40 million from 4,000 theaters. Heading into the second weekend, box office analysts anticipated a decline of 55 to 60% from its opening. Superman dropped only 53. This painful fall is surprising because the Marvel tentpole has the benefit of positive reviews and word of mouth, as well as clear runway in terms of competition. Although those ticket sales was enough to rank as number one in the North American charts, First Steps endured one of the most steeper second weekend drops for Marvel's cinematic universe. Better than the Marvels, but in the company of Captain America: Brave New World, Ant-Man's Quantumania, and Thor: Love and Thunder. So far, Fantastic Four has generated $198 million domestically and $368 million globally. Luckily for Marvel, whose output has been wildly inconsistent in post-pandemic times. The Fantastic Four First Steps is pacing to outgross this year's prior theatrical disappointments of Captain America: Brave New World and Thunderbolts. The final tally for Fantastic Four won't be disastrous as the Marvels or Thunderbolts, but it's not yet the return to box office glory from Marvel. However, the MCU should regain its box office stride with the next three films: Spider-Man, Brand New Day, Avengers Doomsday, and Avengers Secret Wars. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what happened this weekend at the box office number-wise. And this is something that they did not put in this article. Ladies and gentlemen, Fantastic Four endured a 80% drop on Friday. I was going to say Friday night, but all of Friday, Fantastic Four, in comparison to its first week, endured an 80% drop. That is horrific. And going into the weekend, I even predicted this. I compared Captain America: Brave New World's 68% drop from the second weekend in comparison to Superman. And I was sitting here like, man, I dissected the numbers and I was really sitting there like, okay, I do see a scenario where I think Superman could do better just because of the legs that Superman had that week and it was doing phenomenal. I do see a scenario where Fantastic Four is still going to compete with Superman, maybe be in the 55 range. I did not see mid 60 to high 60. I even done a comparison with my chart. I said, okay, you have Superman right here at 53 million drop off, 53% drop off, and you have Captain America Brave New World 68. I thought that it would be closer to the Superman end than it would to Captain America Brave New World. And I was shocked to see it drop 66%. Worse than what everybody anticipated. Everybody anticipated 55 to 60 as the article stated. And specifically after Friday, people even gave them generous numbers. I think they were only anticipating maybe 64, 63. Got all the way up to 66. And I think Lewis Craig, the guy who I always use for his box office numbers, I don't have it pulled up. Let's see. He posted it, and I think the actuals came out even lower than 66. I want to say it was north of 67. Yeah, I was right. Here it is, the tweet from Luis Fernando. Actuals were even lower for Fantastic Four, with one of the biggest drops in MCU's history. Grossing second 3-day weekend with a harsh 67.1 drop in comparisons to Superman's 53.2. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was worse. It was worse than what they initially recorded. I was so I even want to take my glasses off. I was so flabbergasted. I was shocked. I was on the ball field calling ball, and I was just sitting here like, are you serious right now? There's no way. Because all of the hype around Fantastic Four, even with Superman, I even thought with Superman being good, it would benefit Fantastic Four. Knowing that the MCU, the history of it, people, claiming that Marvel was back, even though I didn't want to make those claims because that was a little too close, in my opinion, too far-fetched for me. But with the past couple films, with the win with Thunderbolts and going into, with Fantastic Four being, Fantastic Four is not a huge draw historically in the box office, but, Marvel's finally doing it. It's got the MCU stature. But I did not see this. Nobody, I believe in the industry. And when they say that, I believe them. Nobody in the industry saw this happening. 67%. Worse than what they actually reported. Even if we do give them 66, what the national media outlets are recording, that's still horrible in comparison to Superman, a film that had a lot of baggage coming off of the stench of the DCEU. Guys, the DCEU struggled to get a movie to make $400 million, and that was Aquaman 2. Flash did horrible. Blue Beetle. The list goes on and on. Shazam only made like $170 million in the box office. If I'm not mistaken, do not quote me. But it wasn't a lot. It wasn't more than $300 million. I know that to be sure. And it had that type of baggage. And it has had great legs. They're reporting now it's going to make $640 to $680 million. This movie deserves so much better than that. I know a lot of people said that with Thunderbolts. I do not agree with that. I think Thunderbolts was hot garbage. And I don't think that film was good at all, one iota. But I do not think Fantastic Four deserves this. It is one of the best movies, and I said that. This is one of the best movies that they have released since Spider-Man No Way Home. And, the stuff going on with the industry and a lot of these people blaming superhero fatigue. And I tell everybody this. There's no such thing as superhero fatigue. There is not. Why is it that Batman movies continue to be made? Singular, but even the last one that just came out with the Batman made $770 million. Spider-Man No Way Home just a couple years ago made $1.2 billion. I think Spider-Man Brand New Day has a very solid chance of making maybe $900 million. We've seen Minecraft do it. We've seen a couple of Lilo and Stitch. So there are movies that can make $1 billion in the superhero genre. Granted, Lilo and Stitch isn't in the superhero genre, and Minecraft. Those are two different genres. But I'm just saying, in a general consensus here, there is no such thing as superhero fatigue. There is a such thing as bad movie fatigue. Because what has Marvel done since Endgame? They have prioritized dumb ideas, trying to formulate these characters into, higher positions, such as Anthony Mackie's Captain America, Yelena, and all these characters, America Chavez, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, all these characters that nobody cares about. And you're putting them on the big screen for everybody to consume. Because you got to remember one thing when it comes to the movie industry. Movies got to be made. If you want to make a lot of money, you got to make it for a broad audience. What does a average moviegoer know about Monica Rambeau, Miss Marvel, Yelena? They don't know nothing. And you're putting them on the big screen. That MCU tag does not work anymore like it did a couple of years ago. To the point to where people were actually wanting to go see something like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Ant-Man. You don't have that privilege anymore, because at the time, we had Iron Man in a film. We had Captain America in films. We had Thor, Hulk. All these big characters in the movies were in the MCU at the point. Later on, we got our Spider-Man. We got the Black Panther. A character everybody loves. And you were able to make these side characters and bolster them up into their own films. But it just is not the case anymore. Because the average moviegoer knows Iron Man is not alive at the moment. Chris Evans is old. Who do they have? Black Widow is gone. Hawkeye, don't know what he's doing. Hulk is an idiot now. To put it a PG way. I would want to say something else. Thor, he got turned into a class clown. Spider-Man, you don't know what he's doing. He's getting a film. Shang-Chi, you don't know what he's doing. And it's just, this film deserved better. I think people has lost faith in the MCU. I really do. Marvel's in a tough spot, period. And they might have lost their fastball. And their fastball, aka, is the audience. Diehard comic book fans like me, you're going to pull up to the theater for an MCU movie. That may not be the case for an average Joe. They know and they've seen the MCU at its peak. Why would they want to watch anymore? I don't think that Marvel has provided them a reason to want to continue to watch. And the past garbage with the TV shows, the oversaturation of stuff when it comes to the media that they have produced, it has caused people to be like, I don't care anymore. For me, I was on board with the TV shows and stuff. I watched Loki. I watched all of WandaVision. And even I got tuned out. I said, I don't feel like watching any more TV shows. I think the only ones I watched all of WandaVision. I watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I watched Moon Knight because I'm a big Moon Knight guy. I think he's a cool character. But I have not watched Ironheart. I have not watched Daredevil Born Again because it is sacrilegious to say that. But there's so much stuff to consume with Marvel. And I've got to the point to where I have checked out to a certain degree when it comes to and granted, that's not, again, I can't really say that because, again, I'm not a big TV guy. Just me personally. It's tough for me to sit around and watch TV. I'm a big movie guy. I just love to cut on a movie, be there for 2 hours, consume everything. I don't feel like watching 10 hours plus hours worth of media when it comes to TV shows. I just don't have time for it. But I have not watched, again, Ironheart, Daredevil Born Again, Agatha Harkness, Echo, Miss Marvel, I mean, the list goes on and on of stuff I've done and forgot a lot of them because they're all forgettable and there's so much that's came out. And on top of that, the movies have not been the best. We saw what the Marvels was. Thunderbolts was garbage in my opinion. I thought Captain America Brave New World was okay. I pretty much enjoyed myself, but I'm far more invested in those characters than I am the Thunderbolts. I do not care for Yelena's character. I don't care for none of them characters except for Bucky. And Bucky was on the sidelines the whole movie. So that film was forgettable for me. We'll never watch it again. But what movie can you say post Endgame that you can definitively watch over and over again? I think there's only one. And I have not watched it over again at all. Spider-Man No Way Home and Shang-Chi. I've rewatched Shang-Chi because I actually loved that movie. But what else? I have not watched Doctor Strange again since I've watched it in the movie theaters. I have not, definitely ain't gonna watch Thunderbolts again. Did not watch it in theaters and have not watched it since the Marvels. Watched Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Have not watched it since the movie theater. Captain America Brave New World, definitely more than likely will not watch it again because I have better Captain America movies available at my disposal. So there you go. It's not memorable enough. Do you know how many times I've rewatched Iron Man 1, Captain America 1, Captain America Civil War? I just watched Captain America Civil War this past weekend. Winter Soldier, peak. Guardians of the Galaxy 1. One of my all-time top 5 favorites in the MCU. The first Avengers movie. All these films that were made in the primetime era, they are rewatchable. I thought Fantastic Four was good, but I don't think it's rewatchable. It's just rough because I don't believe in superhero fatigue. I don't. Because I do believe if Infinity Saga's movies in phase 1, 2, and 3 came out at this point in time, I think they would still hold up. I don't think they would be nowhere near as good. It's just because of the state of the movies and the movie industry and just people not going to movies, people just waiting on things to get on VOD. But I do think that you can't tell me that these Infinity War movies from phase 1, 2, and 3 from the Infinity Saga, I don't care what nobody says. This is something that I can definitively say that if you take movies from phase 1, 2, and 3 and apply them to post Endgame in this day and time, I still think that they would hold up pretty well. I do. I don't believe in superhero fatigue. I just believe in bad movie fatigue. And it's just, I'm left speechless. I was disheartened because I don't, even though I've crapped on Marvel, and I am a DC guy, I've been on this high horse with Superman. I have said I enjoyed Superman more than Fantastic Four. I think Superman is rewatchable. Granted, do both films have their faults? Yes. Do I think story-wise was Fantastic Four the better movie? Yes, but I think Superman just breath of fresh air. Brand new, excited for the future. I am not excited for Marvel's future. They got to show me. Now, Fantastic Four, I was invested into the characters. I want to see more. Even Pedro Pascal, to a certain degree. I still wish they could have possibly done somebody better, but I think he done a good job. I actually, for once, post Endgame, enjoyed and were invested in the characters. I cannot say that for all of the other movies and TV shows. Marvel, if, and this is my final point that I have written up, if Avengers Doomsday doesn't do well, I feel like Kevin Feige, the movie industry, and everybody associated with it will blow up. They will lose their minds. You think people are losing their minds now like I am? Imagine if an Avengers movie from the highest grossing franchise in the history of the movie entertainment industry. Does not make a significant amount of money. I mean $800+ million. Heck, that son of a gun may be wanting to touch close to $1 billion. People in the media industry are going to lose their minds. I'm telling you right now, with these numbers, Spider-Man Brand New Day, I'm interested to see what they do. Because I'm telling you, if Spider-Man actually does pretty good and Doomsday doesn't, we know the problem. People are not invested in the characters. Characters matter. I don't care to see Shuri in Avengers. I like Anthony Mackie, but I don't care to see him lead the charge as Captain America. I don't care to see Yelena. I don't care to see any of the Thunderbolts. Maybe John Walker. I enjoy him as a character. I don't care. When it came to an Avengers movie, I was ready to see everybody. Avengers Infinity War, when they all came together, I was excited to see the Guardians of the Galaxy. Everybody interacting with each other. It was beautiful to see. Now, leading up to Avengers Doomsday, I could care less. The only thing I'm really interested in, wholeheartedly, is to see what the old classic X-Men are going to do. That's pretty much it. And maybe just see how, the stuff with the Fantastic Four and how they interact with them as well. There's just so much, guys. So much that has just went wrong with this. I don't know exactly. This is the first time I've had answers for a lot of things when it comes to this stuff. I do not have an answer for this. I can say I do, but it is mind-boggling to me how really bad this did in comparison to Superman. I pulled for Superman. I told a lot of people I really thought at the end of the day Superman was going to make more money, but I did not know that it was going to outperform Fantastic Four in the way that it has so far. Because there's actually people and audiences actually gravitating towards the DCU in the new Superman movie. Because it has held up. It's had a great hold these last couple weeks in the box office. Fantastic Four was super front-loaded. Very front-loaded. Now, reportedly, they're still going to get $500 million. $500+ million. But man, you're in statistics, and they're right here at our disposal. You are in company with these movies right now. Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Widow, Captain America: Brave New World, Quantumania, The Marvels, and Eternals. The Eternals done better the second weekend than the Fantastic Four. Why is that? Because at the time, Eternals came out at a point where Marvel was pretty much still riding off of their reputation. And I really do think at the end of the day, people has lost their trust in Marvel. I really do. I don't think this has nothing to do with superhero fatigue. I think this is just bad production, bad decision making, bad executive decisions on all fronts. And here, you made your bed, Marvel. As a lot of people like to say, you made your bed. And this is where it's got you. I'm interested to see how these numbers go and do going forward. I still don't have a lot of words to say. I'm still shocked myself, and I'm glad to see DCU finally doing good for once. And this is something that's interesting to say as well. DC is going to outgross a Marvel movie for the first time since The Dark Knight. Those are the type of times we are living in right now. That's not good for Marvel. Because at the time when that was going on, they had Iron Man fixing to get ready and come out. You had the first Hulk, so the future was bright. The future is not bright for the MCU. Yeah, we got X-Men and all that coming up. They're teasing the recast of Iron Man and Captain America. But that's not going to come for another 5 years. There's nothing in the immediate future planned. I don't know, guys. I'm very shocked. There's just not much to say. Not much else to say. I'm gonna be interested to monitor this going forward, and I'm gonna continue to report it. It's just very disheartening to see. But guys, let me know what you thought about this. Are you shocked for Fantastic Four's second weekend numbers? on Friday with the 80%, and then going into the 3-day weekend altogether, 66 to 67%. It's down there with one of the Marvel's worst movies ever made so far. And it's just super disheartening to see. I want to know all of your comments down below.